Please refer to the referee guidelines document in your packet. We hope you will read this in its entirety, but for now we will emphasize the most important points. First and foremost, officials are responsible for ensuring the safety of players. The safety issue means that referees must make sure the rules are strictly followed. If we allow running or don't call fouls, falls and injuries are sure to happen. Referees also need to understand our older grannies still want to play. Our oldest player is 92, and many players are in their 70s and 80s. Current basketball rules, with their no harm, no foul mentality, just won't work for us. The rules of granny basketball were purposely selected to allow older women to play. The game is to be slow and gentle, so that risk of injury and/or pain is practically zero. The spry 50-year-olds will have to slow down because it isn't likely that the 80-year-olds will be able to speed up any. Older players and/or grannies who have never played before are just as important as their younger or more experienced sisters. Aiding in development and skills does not mean officials will coach the players, but from time to time need to explain the rules, such as one shot only at the free throw line, or stand inside the circle to throw in the ball, or simply explain why you made the call you did. Regarding sportsmanship, referees are to control the game. Basketball is a competitive game, and so are many grannies. Technical calls must be made with enough frequency to squelch overly emotional behavior. This does not mean that you have to respond to all benign one-time reactions such as, "I didn't touch her," or "What'd I do?" which are frequent and normal reactions. Choose your battles. Officials are not to act like Nazis. Be firm but kind. Reserve the technical calls for continuous arguing or advice, nasty remarks, and serious displays of aggression. Here are the specific referee characteristics we mentioned on the previous slide. Officials must be fair, honest, and courageous, make tough calls, and risk the objections of participants. They must be self-confident. In other words, they know what they are doing and know that they know what they're doing. Their calls are consistent. The best referees are even-tempered, good-natured, and humble. They are in good enough shape to move quickly enough to get themselves in the proper position on very short notice. If you have an injury or ailment that prevents movement, you may want to recuse yourself and find someone to replace you. Referees must remain alert. It is sometimes difficult to be focused, especially if you have reffed several games in one day. Be aware of this pitfall. It doesn't hurt to have a good sense of humor, too. You will make mistakes. You will make errors of commission and errors of omission. Feel free to apologize to the victim. Learn from your mistakes. Seek and welcome feedback from others. We have a form for that in your packet. You can use it yourself to self-evaluate your performance, or you can give it to someone else to fill out on your behalf. If you decide that you really want to get certified and become an official granny referee, there are some hoops to jump through. No pun intended. First of all, you must attend an ROC-sponsored referee workshop, or watch this video in its entirety. Second, you must take and pass the certification test with 80% accuracy. Third, you must officiate 2 games with a certified referee. These games can be league games, scrimmages, fundraiser, or exhibition games. You will be shadowed by a certified referee as you learn. And last, a recommendation from your captain or advisory board member must be included on the application. When all these things have been completed, you must submit the application to the Referee Oversight Committee, the ROC. If accepted, you will be awarded an official certification patch, and your name will be added to the referee contact list. This list is updated regularly and published on the online file folder. You may want to check this occasionally. The instructions for gaining access to the online file folder are included here. Referees are expected to assume certain duties before, during, and after a game. Here are the pregame duties. Check the game equipment and facilities for safety. Locate the ball, the coin for the coin toss, score sheets and rosters, and of course the scorekeepers. If these are not available, contact your host. Introduce yourself to the scorekeepers and fellow referees. Review the hand signals you use with the scorekeepers and consult with the referees to determine who will assume which court position, left, right, or center. There is a document in your packet with a diagram of the correct positions that we will show you and explain on the next slide. Call the captains to the center of the court 5 to 10 minutes prior to the game. Give reminders to the captains to pass along to their players. Teams should minimize using the word time, unless it's for a timeout. Players are to raise their arm when a foul is called and show their number to the scorekeepers. Referees are to set the tone for the game. You can say, "We will be calling a tight game today," or perhaps, "We will be watching particularly for running." Players are to quickly pass the ball to a referee, preferably the center ref, after a field goal has been scored. Failure to do this will constitute a warning for the first violation or a technical foul for delay of game for any subsequent violations. Define the boundary lines. There are many, many lines in most gyms, and they are all different. Then, check the players for jewelry, long fingernails, official uniforms, and so on. If there are uniform infractions, 1 point is added to the opponent's score prior to the start of the game. Jewelry must be removed and fingernails trimmed prior to entering the game. Refer to the document in your packet called The Game, which is a graphic of court positions for referees. Court position should be agreed upon among the 3 officials prior to the start of the game. When the game starts, the center ref will position her on the scorekeeper side of the court and the other 2 on the opposite side. The idea is that all portions of the court can be clearly seen by one of the referees. Also, each ref only has to run 1/3 to 1/2 of the court. Typically, refs do not call infractions if their view is blocked. Leave that call up to the referee who is in the proper position to see clearly. When the ball is in the left court, the left ref is stationed under the basket. The right ref is stationed at the edge of the court across from the center line or between the free throw line and the center line. The center ref is stationed at the sideline, across from the free throw line or between the free throw line and the center line. When the ball is in the right court, the reverse is true. The right ref is stationed under the basket, the left ref is stationed at the center line, the center ref is stationed at the sideline across from the free throw line or between the free throw line and the center line. Occasionally, there will be a time when just two referees are available. When this happens, one official will be positioned under the basket and the other will stand between the center line and the free throw line. Here are some suggestions during the game. First, do not be timid about blowing your whistle. You must blow it loudly and definitively. Blow it like you mean it. Keep in mind the clock continues to run unless there is a foul, granny down, or timeout. Therefore, the center ref should be in position near the center circle and not waste time delivering the ball to the center. You will waste precious seconds walking to the circle to deliver the ball. You do not have to hand the ball to the center. Throw it to her from your position. Figure out a way to remember which team will have possession after a timeout, quarter, or halftime break. Some refs place the ball in the circle on whichever side of the circle the team that will be awarded possession is sitting. Others hold the ball on their left or right hip on whichever side of the court the team who will receive the ball is sitting. When a granny fouls out, the scorekeeper should notify the referees by sounding the buzzer. Then it is up to the referee to notify the player that she has been disqualified and sees to it that a substitute enters the game in her place. The ball will not be given to the free throw shooter until after the sub has entered the game and the players are properly lined up. When the shooter receives the ball, she then has 10 seconds to shoot it. When there is a turnover, such as running, traveling, or double dribbling, the referee will find a place on the sideline closest to the point where the infraction occurred and give the ball to the opponents. After a made free throw, the guards do not have to wait for the referee to hand them the ball. The guards are to immediately take the ball out at the end of the court, but to one side or the other of the free throw lane, not directly underneath the basket, because throw-ins from there might hit the backboard, ricochet down, and hit someone. Referees are to check with the scorekeepers after each quarter to make sure there are no unresolved scoring issues. When there is a dispute between the paper score and the scoreboard score, the paper score is designated as the official record. At the end of the game, one of the referees is to sign the paper score sheet. All high school, college, and professional officials use hand signals to communicate with the scorekeepers, bench personnel, and spectators. In granny games, it is particularly important to use a signal for fouls so the clock keeper knows to stop the clock. Also, if signals are not used, confusion occurs. A coach, captain, or even a player might question what the call is, and the referee might misinterpret why she is being questioned and call an undeserved technical on the questioner. Hard feelings then develop. You can avoid this by using hand signals along with your loud whistles. There are really only 3 kinds of signals, not that many to remember. We will demonstrate these. Rule 1 of officiating is to keep your whistle in your mouth at all times. As sure as you take it out, something will happen and you won't be able to make the call when you need to. Here are the hand signals for starting and stopping the clock, various fouls, and the turnover violation signals. Naturally, each signal is accompanied by your whistle. You will notice that the top left signal under clock is the signal for stopping the clock for a foul. If you can remember only one signal, this is it. Even if you just raise your fist above your head and blow, that would be acceptable. If you forget the extended arm maneuver, nobody will care. After calling the foul, when the clock is stopped, use your fingers to signal to the scorekeepers the collar number of the player who has committed the foul and instruct the culprit to turn her back toward the scorekeeper so that she can see the number. Some officials also yell out the number. It is sometimes necessary to designate which team has committed the foul by announcing the color of the uniform along with the number if there are two players on opposite teams who are wearing the same number. While the referee who has made the call is communicating with the scorekeepers, one of the other referees will be in charge of the ball and take it to the free throw line and will announce how many free throws the forward will get, usually just one, or two if the foul was made in the act of shooting. When all the players are lined up properly, the referee will hand the ball to the forward. The forward then has 10 seconds to shoot the free throw. Sometimes the ball will bounce funny and roll off the court, under the bleachers, or down a hallway. This is when you blow the whistle and use the signal to stop the clock. After the ball is retrieved, indicate the point where it should be inbounded and give it to the appropriate player. After the ball is touched inbounds, give the start the clock signal as you blow your whistle. As you can see, there are several kinds of fouls. The double foul signal and the well-known technical foul signal are the ones most commonly used. Hardly anybody remembers to use the others, but it would be great if you could. Now for the other violations, also known as turnovers, use the same signal for running or traveling. There is a separate one for jumping. An easy one to remember is the 5-second signal, which is to hold up your hand and show 5 fingers. Here is the very important foul stop the clock signal. Raise your arm and clench your fist. You will want to converse with the scorekeepers prior to the game to make sure they know the meaning of this signal. Here is Bob Schofield, a professional referee who will demonstrate other hand signals. I found this clip on YouTube and asked for and received permission from the producer of the video, sportsvideos.com, to use it in this presentation. There are some hand signals included here that we don't use, but I think you'll agree Bob makes really good definitive signals. Strive to be like Bob.
Now I'm going to show you some of the basic hand signals and mechanic signals that we have. This is how you start the clock. This is how you stop the clock, either for a violation with your hand open, or if your fist is closed, that means you have a foul. Open hand's a violation, closed hand is a foul. By raising your hand, you stop the clock. Jump ball. This is the proper signal for jump ball. Hand up, 2 thumbs up, closing in at the play. Designated spot for throw-in. We have our hand up for a travel. We point to the spot where the ball will be thrown in. If we are disallowing a basket, no score. If we have basket interference and the basket counts, goal is good. If we have a drive to the basket and we have an and one situation, we score the basket, 2 points, and we will have one foul shot. 3-point field goal attempts, hand at a 45, shot is made, touchdown, 3 points. When the teams have reached the bonus situation, which is 7 team fouls, on the 7th team foul, we come out, foul, hold, 1-1. Traveling. Stop the clock, travel. If we have an illegal dribble, violation, illegal dribble, direction. For over and back or palming, it is the same signal. Stop clock, hand rotates like it's palming. When we have a 5-second violation, stop the clock, 5 seconds, direction. If we have a designated spot and we're not shooting free throws, as soon as the ball, there's a foul, we point to where we want the ball put in play. So it would be clinch fist for a foul, spot of throwing. Excessive swinging of elbows. Kicking. Hand up. Kick. Illegal use of hands. Foul. Hand. Okay, hand check. Hand check. Holding. Blocking. Pushing. Charging. Intentional foul. Double foul.